so excited that we are in this room and not crammed in a gym where we were previously. So you guys have comfy seats. So if anything, this should be nice for you guys, for comfy seats. So I appreciate you all coming here tonight to hear these guys. We've worked really hard for this, probably since January is when we hit really, really hard. I always talk about this, but a little bit about what I do. I teach 4 buildings, 4th through 6th grade. I teach at Bermuda, Griffith, Hallsbury, and Wedgwood. The kids will always tell you I say that's my order of my favorite, but it's not. It's just the alphabetical order. I have no favorite. I like all of them. There are 2 groups up here today. I combined them into one mass group because some of my beginning players were able to advance so well that they're actually playing with the dance band. So it's really awesome. So instead of having them awkwardly go back and forth, they're just sitting in one big group. And they get to sit next to people and hear awesome sounds. There are some people I'm going to point out first before I go, some of my helpers. There is Miss Cummings. Wave hi, Miss Cummings. She didn't know I was going to do this. Miss Cummings is the band director at Ferguson Middle School. So if you have a kiddo, if you have a kiddo that's going to that school next year, she wants them. She'll find you. Okay, there's also Mr. Stringer. He's right here. He's currently at MSB, but next year he's going to be at the 6th grade centers. So he's going to be at Johnson Wabash and Wedgwood. So if your child is going to 6th grade, that's him. Okay, and then we have Miss Fiasco. There. Miss Fiasco is at Cross Keys. Yeah, and she also wants you to go to Cross Keys. Join us. Don't sign up for that wheel thing. They're trying to convince them all to join the Wheel of Fun. It's not fun. Don't do it. Sign up for band. And then we have Mr. String, who is at STEAM Middle School. So if your kid is going to STEAM for middle school, yes. Then we have myself. I think we got all of our teacher helpers. Oh, Miss Maji. She's hiding, that's why. Miss Maji's over here. And she is currently at Griffith, but next year she will be at Duchesne, teaching the little babies, the K through 2. Awesome, so we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna start with beginning band. works. There we go. I don't know if you guys remember what beginning band sounded like for that first concert, but it's a huge skip. We went from like, what song was that, to actually hearing melodies, counter melodies, and parts playing together. It is so awesome. And I wish you guys could kind of like take a glimpse into my classroom. So what I did is on your programs, you'll notice there's a QR code. So what you do, if you scan it, it shows you, don't do it now, I don't know about Russian do it now. Don't do it now, but do it later. But what it does is it gives you a glimpse of a field trip that we did. And it kind of shows like all the work they put into it. And it's just a really fun thing to look at. So if you would check that out by SJ Productions, I would really appreciate that. And now we have Advanced Band. Awesome. While our percussion is getting set up for this next piece, I'm going to talk a little bit. And I do this every concert, where I talk about how this is literally the top kids of all the 4 schools I go to. This is the top. And I'm going to prove it because I know you guys know this drill. I do this all the time. So I'm going to give an example, and if you fit that example, I want you to stand up, but don't knock anything over. Okay, carefully keep your instrument. Okay, so if you are in probe now, stand up. Okay. If you have all A's and B's, oh no, stay standing if you're in probe. If you have all A's and B's in your report card, stand up. And if you are referral free, meaning you have not been suspended, I want you to stand up. Go ahead and sit down. I can literally, like, everyone is standing. That is such a big deal. These are the leaders of your school, and we want them to stay in band because they will stay leaders. Because music just does something to you that just makes, I want to say it makes you better, but it does. It does. And we want to make sure these kids stay in music, specifically band. No offense to orchestra. So, go band. So the other thing I want to say is that when your kid is registering for classes next year, when they hand out those forms, please make sure band is circled. If it isn't, you're like, man, I already turned that in. It's okay, you can still change it. Go in there, because we as teachers are going to go find them and make sure they change it to circle band, because we love having them in our classroom and we want it to stay that way. But it's also up to you guys as the parents as well, because you guys are doing a lot of the behind the scenes. You're paying to rent an instrument. I get it. It's expensive. You're also, hopefully, making them practice. Notice how I didn't say who practices at home. Yeah, they're all looking at me now. Yeah. Of course, Miss Cummings always practices. Okay, but those are things that you can do to help us. Because I get to see them twice a week for a half an hour. And like I tell them, if they were on a basketball team and they only shot hoops for an hour a week, how good would they be? And they're like, oh, I wouldn't be good. I'm like, exactly. So you have to have practice outside the classroom in order to get better at what they're doing. So I want to thank you guys for your support, and I'm going to stop talking. And we're going to go on to our next song.